Hello, everyone. Welcome to Geekout interview, because today we're being lucky and we're interviewing Steve, who made Tales of Argosa, Lo-Fi Fantasy 2, right?
Low Fantasy Gaming, yeah, second edition.
Yeah. Second edition, yeah. So welcome, Steve, to the channel.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So what got you into gaming? Because we all get into this thing in a weird way. So
So I started out with fighting fantasy books, which I think probably a lot of people do. I don't know if you can hear my dogs going off in the background at the moment. I can.
Nah, that's fine.
Hopefully you can't hear them too much. I got two little miniature schnauzers who are just little bastards sometimes. But anyway, we're calming down now. I started out with fighting fantasy. I'll choose your own adventure, I guess. When I was young, I don't know, it must have been fourth grade or something. And then anyway, moved on to these fighting fantasy books. I don't know if you would have played when you were younger, but I wasn't much of a reader. Anyway, one of my mates got the fighting fantasy book with the dice and you make the characters, and I was hooked straight on it. And anyway, brought one home, and Dad was like, "Oh my God, Steve's reading." And as a result of that, he bought me a whole bunch of them, and then that was it. I was in the playing the game books, and from that, it was a short jump to by the time I got involved with D&D, it was second edition already, because that would have been like 88, something like that. So it was second edition books that we saw. I did have a little bit of a go. One of my mates had the red box, and we played that for a little bit. But after playing that, it was like, oh, there's an advanced version. We have to move on to the advanced version. And so we left behind the red box really quickly, even though maybe we should have stayed with it for a while. But anyway, quickly moved on to second edition. And then we played that for like me and my schoolmates, various mates, because guys would come and go from the group. But we played that for like 14, 15 years, with a little bit of other games. Sort of, we play a bit of Shadowrun or a bit of Werewolf, or a tiny bit of Earthdawn. Warhammer Fantasy, we never really, I knew it was around, but we never really got to play it. I didn't really look into that until much later, which I deeply regret. I think it would have been really good to have hit that earlier, but so anyway, it all started with Ian Livingston and Steve Jackson's fighting fantasy books, really, and then went from there.
Yeah, those were good books. I really enjoyed them as a child too. I got them used because I was a little. So I had a cousin who was playing D&D, solo playing D&D, and he had the books and he handed them down to me, and I'm like, okay, sure, because he's about 10, 15 years older than me, so I was about 8 when he handed them over to me. So
perfect age. And funny enough, just speaking about those fighting fantasy books, Caliburn, or Glenn from our Discord, he ran a Tales of Argosa game the other day at UK, I forget what it's called, UK Games Expo or something like that. And at his table was, amongst other people, Ian Livingston. Was playing my game. I was like, fucking hell, what the hell? That's so cool. Yeah, it was amazing. I was so surprised.
I'd be excited to hear somebody like that playing my game.
I know. It was a bizarre moment, but anyway.
So,
thanks to Glenn.
Speaking of Tales of Argosa, it's awesome. I really respect it. It does a lot of things really well. I didn't find much that it didn't do well. And I don't find much that every game does something better than other things, is what I meant to say. How did you come up with the exploit system? Was that part of, because I never played low fantasy.
That was really, I mean, fairly reasonably clearly, I think, inspired by Dungeon Crawl Classics Mighty
Okay.
Deeds, right? So when I first read, this is interesting. When I first read the Mighty Deeds mechanic in DCC, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. If only you could do whatever you want at any time. And basically, if only you could tweak it a little bit, do whatever you want to do when you use it. Because I didn't realize, I don't know if the rule has changed over time or if I just misread it in the first place. When I first read DCC, I thought you had to roll on, you could do it, but you had to roll on the table to see what the effect was, rather than say, I want to try and do this. And anyway, however it actually works, whether I misunderstood it or not, I thought, oh, it'd be really awesome to have a free form version of this, but not just for the fighter, for everybody. Obviously, fighter would be better at it because they got better hit chance and they're going to be in melee and so on, versus the sorcerer who is going to be in more danger if they're in melee. But yeah, so it came from there. I mean, yeah, that absolutely. And there's just a bit of a variant on that where your luck reduces as you know, if you succeed on an exploit, then your luck goes down, which is also your saving throws, balancing. You know, you can go crazy in the combat and lop off limbs and do those really big maneuvers, but you do have to, you will reach a point where if you keep doing that and doing that and doing that, then if you have to make the giant spider gets you and you got to make that poison save,
check. Yeah,
that luck check, well, then you pay for it then. So it's sort of a balancing. Well, it's a resource that you can use. Yeah, and then so minor exploits, major exploits actually. So that's very similar, I think, to your DCC Mighty Deeds of Arms, and then you got minor exploits, which are all just the usual disarm, push, trip, all that sort of little effects that there's usually a list for. It just all gets bundled under the minor exploit, and then the rescue exploit. That's just a bit of a weird. That's just something from out of the movies, you know, where someone pushes the guy out the way at the last minute. It's supposed to reflect that sort of assistance that you can provide to your party member, but you can only attempt one of those per adventure. So if you've got 5 guys in your team, you know you've got 5 possible rescues available, and then that's it. So that's basically how that came about.
So, okay, so this all started. So when did you start Pickpocket Press? Or are you just a part of them? I'm trying to understand the relationship here.
Yep, it's mostly me in partnership with my wife. So Steph does a lot of the editing and the art curation and dealing with the artists and things like that. But I do most of the writing. So Steph does the hard part, which is the editing, right? I do the fun bit where you just get to do the creative part, and then she has to do the difficult part.
I love the name. The name is so great. Pickpocket Press. It's so great. How did you come up with it? Because I know naming your company was a big thing for me. So
I don't know where exactly it came from. I knew there was Privateer Press and there was another something press who did 13th Age. What were they called? What are they called? Anyway, I think there was a few presses going around, and I don't know, somehow stumbled across the Pickpocket name, and then Daniel Commercy did the logo for it. He's done all our logos, actually. He's a really excellent illustrator and graphic designer. And I did have in my mind wanting a ninja or a hooded guy. And so that seemed to go with the pickpocket anyway. And then he turned it into a logo, and yeah, it sort of went from there. So,
that's great.
Yeah, just sort of
I really like it.
Into place.
Thank you. I mean, I spent hours thinking about names when I was naming Grimwood Games, and so
it's true.
That's
also an awesome name. Come
on. So when developing, hey Fox of RPG, welcome to the channel, because I've never seen you. So you must be from Steve's channel. So when you were coming up with this mechanic, how many hours did you play test? Because we all know you play test.
That's a hard question. I definitely do playtest. I would say, well, I played on Roll20 and also in person with my home group. So because when LFG first was coming about, that was because I wanted to play Primeval Thrall, which is a particular setting, like a sword and sorcery setting by Sasquatch Games. I don't know if that studio is still around anymore. They may not be. But back then they were making all sorts of stuff, including this very awesome Conan like Primordial World, Viking lands, sort of sword and sorcery setting. And I wanted to play that, but we were playing 5e in my group, and 5e does not doesn't have dangerous magic. It's not a dangerous game in terms of it's very easy to. There's whack-a-mole where it's very easy to heal and not be really in any danger, right?
It's a heroic game, yeah.
Yeah, it's a heroic game. And so I was like, okay. So I started tweaking the 5e stuff to make it less magical and more dangerous, and just putting homebrew stuff up on the site called D&D Hackers Guild, which is still there, but I don't put anything on there these days. And anyway, as a result of that, I was playing with the group, and we were playing. So I don't know. It wasn't like all that much. It was probably like, I don't know, like 10 sessions, 3 hours each, 30 hours of mucking around with edits and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this works.
You got it off easy, but
it seems to work.
You got off easy. I think I have almost 1,000 hours.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, it was a continuing thing, but once I could see, yeah, this is working.
It just means you're better at making systems than me. That's all.
I think it's lucky. Yeah, just lucky.
So, what is your favorite part about your game?
Oh, I think at the moment I'm really into, and this is something that's changed over time and was not even on the cards with low fantasy gaming, but has come into play in the last years. Very big now. I'm very keen on the emergent play approach. Lots of random tables, and whether DM or GM, I really just like DM, but GM or referee, even better, is, as they're running the adventure, they're also discovering what's going to happen in the adventure. So either because of the random tables to do with monsters, or you're using some kind of oracles to determine, what the situation is, if you're using an open question oracle or just a yes/no oracle, whatever. I'm on that now, yeah. And I think partly I really enjoy that aspect of RPGs, and I think that we always used to do kind of something like that when I was younger, but then over time we got more drawn into the more structured and bigger adventures, a bit more limited in terms of, like the whole adventure from front to cover before you start it, so you know who the NPCs are that you need to keep alive or whatever, these sorts of things in order to reach the end of the adventure and have the big reveal. So now I'm sort of moving away, and that's fun. We've done that for years, and it is a good, it's a good way to play. But I'm definitely now more interested in adventures which are more like just here's a site, or there's some kind of situation that we're going to drop you into this situation or into this site, and then things will just happen because the players start doing things and that leads to things, or because you're rolling on random tables and things are popping up.
Wes from DM Tales will tell you I'm not a big fan of random tables, but you make a very good argument for them. It would be nice to not expect something, but
it's so
usually
fun.
I leave a lot up to my players. You make the story, I'll just go with it, type deal. Okay, you want to run through that wall? You run through that wall. We'll see what happens. So I guess in that sort, it sort of is kind of random, but You make a very good argument for random tables. So what don't you like about your game? What would you change if you could?
One thing I would definitely change is I very poorly expressed. This is a very stupid typo, not typo. The way that I wrote the hit points, I just didn't express it very clearly in the actual classes. So the idea is you get your con bonus. Sorry. Scratch that. Your con score is your starting hit points. So say you got con 14, start with 14. And then you get +1 if you're like a sorcerer, or +2 if you're a rogue, and +3 if you're a fighter. And then each level, all you get is the +1, the +2, or the +3. That's all you get as you level up. So between level 1 and 9, you might get 10 to 40 hit points, something like that. But when you look at how, I don't know why the way that I wrote it in the description is a bit confusing, because it's kind of like if you take your hit points at 5th level, then you go in there and you use this formula, and this is the hit points that you will get. Anyway, I think it's okay because everyone seems to understand what I meant, and the example is pretty good about how you do it. But so that's one thing which I definitely should have fixed. And I didn't realize it until someone on the Discord said, "I don't understand how the hit points work. You say this here, and then it looks like this here," and I'm like, "Oh, I was like, damn, how did I do that?" But
don't know what that's like at all.
The other thing that I'm not super keen on actually is, well, I don't know. See, the thing is, there's a magic user and there's a cultist in the game at the moment, right? And I think that really, if you look at those Conan stories and look at Farford, Grey Mouser, and all that, those style of games, I think really there should probably be one. There should probably either just be the magic user, and they both do everything, right? They're cultists, they're priests, they're sorcerers, they're wizards. Like either it's the magic user or it's the cultist. And I sort of ended up putting both in because I know people want to run different kinds of games, and more D&D, like more traditional Forgotten Realms or whatever, but a bit grittier, a bit more dangerous. Then you can take this game and play that. And you've got your cleric. Well, it's not really cleric. The cultist is more like a paladin than a cleric in terms of what it can do. But yeah, so I'm of two minds in relation to that, whether I should have put both of them in or just decided on one, or done some kind of mixture. Because in LFG, in Low Fantasy Gaming, there was only the magic user, and there was only 5 classes actually. And then so this sort of ballooned out to 9. Well, the other thing is the artificer. I get a lot of complaints about the artificer. It's not sword and sorcery enough, which, there's some truth to that, I think. But the reason I included that was because I wanted something that was basically a non-magical version of a caster. So if you wanted no magic at all, you could get rid of the magic user, get rid of the cultist, and you could just have the artificer as your sort of, he's got a little bit of area effects, a little bit of utility stuff. So yeah, that's why I put him in there. But yeah, there's a bit of a question mark over whether I should.
Oh man, that's definitely eating away at you, I've seen.
Oh no, I mean it's all fine. I mean I fully expect that. I think GMs will come to the game and go, okay, you're allowed to be this, but not this one and not this one. When it comes to the classes, I'd be surprised. Well, not surprised. Some people will allow everything, of course, but I think most GMs will probably say we're not doing the artificer, or we're not doing the monk, or whatever they want. They may split it out a little bit to suit their setting, whatever it's going to be.
DM Tales, or Wes, as we all know him, wants to know what you're planning in the future. I guess he just says poke. So he just poked me and said, "Hey, what is he planning?" So, what are you planning? Are you planning anything fun that DM Tales knows that I don't know?
No, definitely. So I'm making the box. We're making the box set at the moment, which is supposed to be a throwback to like the 2E style box sets, like the Forgotten Realms box set, Spelljammer box set, Dark Sun box set. And it's actually also very inspired by Free Leagues, and I've got it off over to the corner there, but their Forbidden Lands box set, and their what's the other one they've got, which I've played it a lot.
Dragonbane?
Yeah, there it is. Super inspired by both of these box sets, right? So what basically the Argosa box set will be, there'll be a GM book, which is basically adventure sites for the hex map. It's going to be poster size hex map, A1 size. I've commissioned it. Arturo is working on it now. It's a bit of a reimagining of the original Midlands map, which I really should have to show you, but I don't have it. But because this is supposed to be a 6 mile hex map, and we've only got so much room, and I don't want the hexes to be too small, I've really had to I have changed the way that the Midlands map looks, basically, and tried to choose this interesting aspects, and we sort of zeroed in on that rectangle. Anyway, so that's coming, and there'll be a GM book with all the like key hex sites and all that, and then there'll be a player guide, much shorter, just about the world and those sorts of things, and then a few other bits and pieces in there. I've got some cards, that emergent play tool. I've got some cards that are right here. They're here on the desk next to me, but I don't want to break them out yet because they're not really ready.
Okay.
There's some cards to do with some stuff, and then there'll be a few other pieces in there. And then other than that, I'm currently working on the latest little adventure, and this is actually it's the final stretch goal from the Kickstarter campaign, which was a while ago now. So I'm sorry, everybody, but it's nearly done. So that adventure will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I can show you a bit of the map of it, which will give you a bit of an idea. So this adventure is a little bit different because it's not, in the other ones, they were like definite sites and a little bit fleshed out with known sort of opponents and stuff. This is more like a adventure generator for it's basically a Moria ripoff, right? Like a giant underground ruin. This is the rough map. So this is only the rough. This is the rough so far.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you can really see it, but yeah, it's looking pretty radical. So Alex,
really cool.
It looks good. It looks good. So anyway, I put a little grid on it, and you sort of hex crawl around it, and we've got all these tables about what you encounter. So that's what's coming very soon. The next hopefully 2 weeks, I'll have that out in PDF to the backers, and then I'll send off for the soft cover, and then all the backers will get that as a print at cost code. And then finally, that will be the last of the stretch goals, and I can 100% focus on the box sets. That's what's coming up.
Those are two pretty cool things. I think I was gonna get the book, but I have it in PDF format, but I might wait for the box set because that sounds pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well actually, when I run that, I mean that won't be till at least, I think that'll probably be the first quarter of 2026. I don't think it's going to be. I was hoping I might be able to do it by the end of 2025, and it also depends on these tariffs and things. I have to say, it does matter, like what's happening with that. Because we were printing in Lithuania, which was very awesome, and previously there was no tax on books coming into the US, as far as I understood it. No real tax, no real tariffs. And now there's I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 25% or 20% or whatever. I know in China it's like 100% or something, but from Lithuania, I suspect it's still 25% or something like that. So I've got to look into all that, but we'll see.
Wes is also saying that you're spending his money for him. Stop doing that.
Thank you, Wes.
I'm definitely picking it. I picked it up in PDF format because we were going to do we did the live play with Devin, and I read through it, and I was so impressed with it that I'm so glad you were able to come on the channel, because it's such a great system. And I'm a little jealous
No,
that you
thank
only
you.
spent.
No, thanks for having me.
I'm a little jealous that you only spent 30 hours playtesting it.
That's just the exploits. We played the rest of it,
Oh, okay.
for a long time. I mean, in many ways, it's not that different to a lot of the core systems have been play tested by hundreds of thousands of people. How many, because the roll under system was in 2E in the non-weapon proficiencies, the AC and all that, all the damage expressions, all that stuff is pretty much carried over from Swords and Wizardry, just increased or decreased a little bit here and there. So most of the mechanics are already settled and we know they work. And so I didn't want to, my guiding principle, I suppose, was if it ain't, broke, don't fix it, just leave it. And so that's why a lot of it is not too different. And then there's just some subsystems that come in to,
that's the way to do it.
Tweak things.
I mean, that's kind of sort of how I did some of my system stuff too. Like, I definitely was inspired by like Easy D6 for my system. So like,
sure.
Yeah. So it's only available on drive-through right now, right?
Yeah. So there's a print on demand version through drive-through, and the cards, like the Oracle cards, are also on drive-through. The dice, actually, I just got through from I was making some wooden ones on Gamecrafter, but Gamecrafter very annoyingly stopped making wooden dice just like in early May. So I had to get some I've got some, what do you call it, like prototype dice from them just on Friday this year. So I'll put these up on the Gamecrafter site at the end of this weekend. So folks want to grab those. The trouble with these ones is that these are printed, so they don't last forever. Like the more you roll them, eventually the stuff comes off. But that's the only option I've got at the moment. And then when the Kickstarter round, eventually, probably early next year, we'll do another set of the engraved dice from Q Workshop in Poland. They did the dice, so we'll order another if there's enough interest, because you've got to get a certain number of people who want to order it before it becomes economical. Right. But if we get at least 300 persons, something like that, 300 orders, that's fine. Boom, order it. And then we'll do the same thing with the book. We'll do the offset print of the book again, if there's enough interest, in conjunction with the box set. So there'll be the box set is really the setting and the hex map and all that. And then you got the rule book, and then you got, if you want the dice and the cards and stuff, that's there as well. I mean, yeah.
All right.
But you can do the cards. Sorry. The dice, you can do them on your phone. So we put up a thing.
Yes, you did.
Wait a minute.
I don't think I can get it on.
Hang on. I'll just get rid of this one. Let's see. Delete that. So you can
do it on your phones now. Yeah, you can. You can see it.
Yeah. So I've got too many. I've got too many of the red dice on there. But anyway, yeah. So in the meantime, you can use the phone if that suits people, and that's free. Well, it's not. The only thing is that the person who makes that app, they charge you $5. The app is free, but to make a custom dice, they charge you $5. So you do have to pay. Like, nothing to do with me. That's those guys. But it just seemed like a really good app. It was very, very versatile.
Oh yeah, it's a great app. I saw our post about it, and I downloaded it to test it out. It's really nice. All right. Cool. Question from Wes again. He says, when are you taking your unnamed system to the post-apocalyptic game?
Wes is always bugging me to give the general system a name. I don't even know. I have no clue what to call it. Post-apocalyptic. I would love to do that. Or indeed to do a revamp of Low Life 2090, which was our game in between in between low fantasy gaming and this game, we did like a cyberpunk, like a Shadowrun-ish game. I do not know. I've got it. We're at the moment just trying to sort out the box set and keep going with the adventures and keep the Argosa thing going. And then at some point we'll probably roll around to possibly a post-apocalyptic thing. But we've got Project Sunflower in there already for post-apocalyptic. So I don't know if we need need another one. I mean, you can always use another one, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. Always. I mean, you always got something in your head you're working on next. At least I do. I don't know if you do. But I'm constantly got something. Oh, that would be a great idea. And next thing I know, I'm writing a book in a month. Anyways, sorry. What made you decide to use the rune system? Like, was that from a previous game that you've played, or was it something that you came up with, or like?
Do you mean with the dice?
Because it's yeah, with the dice, yeah.
That so the bones, which I call them.
Oh, bones. I mean, bones, yeah.
But yeah. You know Willow, right? You know the movie Willow?
Yeah.
And there's this scene where the High Aldwin consults the bones, right? He rolls the bones and says to Willow, it's a fake thing. Oh, do you have any love for this child? Yes. Okay. Oh, well, the bones say that Willow must take the child.
Right.
It's completely inspired from that. And I just wanted,
okay.
Yeah, I just wanted something that was like multiple dice, because I wanted people to be able to feel like you want not just rolling a D6, you're rolling a few dice. And ideally I'd love for that oracle to be like a yellowy, bone colored. I'd love it to actually have a bit of a knuckle bones effect on it or something. I don't know. Anyways,
right.
But it came from that, and I thought, oh well, if you're going to try and mimic some kind of casting of the bones, then I would use some kind of symbols. But I mean, they're very they're straight out of the Norse.
It's a great mechanic.
Alphabet, and it's yes and no. Like, it's very straightforward. It's not cryptic at all. And then you just got the skull. The skull is a misfortune, and the sun is it's not working very well. Anyway, the sun is like the fortune.
Yeah.
So that's where it's come from. Just that movie, really. And then it's come from there. It's
a great mechanic. I love it. Every time Devin rolled the bones, I'm like, okay, this is cool.
They are fun. It is fun.
So what games besides your own do you like playing?
I very much like, my favorite are probably, I think I do like Forbidden Lands a lot. Dragonbane, also a lot. DCC, Dungeon Crawl Classics, of course. I like very much. I just saw, actually, and now I want to play it, but I haven't yet, something called Black Sword Hack, which I know has been around for a while, but that's like a lighter style sword and sorcery system. But what is interesting to me about that one is it's one of those games where it's mostly player facing rolls. So instead of the GM rolling to attack you, you roll your defense, or you roll your dodge or whatever to get out of the way. Yeah, and I've actually never played one of those kinds of games, so I'm very interested to have a crack at that and see how that goes. But so they're probably Shadowrun. I've always loved that since forever. I know Shadowrun is super crunchy and really difficult to. There's so many subsystems, and it's just very so much work for the GM. But I love the world that they created for it. I just love it.
Right.
I love the mixing of like the swords and the adepts, and then you've got guns, and you've got dragon. You got everything mushed into one, which is normally something that I don't like. But for Shadowrun, I don't know why. Maybe it's the cyberpunk dystopian future. Whatever it is, for some reason it works for me and I love it. So I haven't played that for a long time, I have to admit, but I do love that game.
I'm playing my first game of it during crit because I haven't played it yet.
Oh,
it's been on my list for 2 years, and I'm finally going to get to play it. I'm excited.
You're going to have some fun. You're going to have some fun with that game. I mean, I don't know. Do you know what edition they're running? Is it up to 6 editions?
No, I have no idea.
Crazy stuff like that.
I have no idea what they're running for edition,
okay.
but
anyway, it's going to be fun just because of.
I think it is the newest edition, but I like Shadowrun. Okay. So we talked about the future. We talked about past. I'm not seeing any other questions from Wes because Wes has been shoving them down my throat. I love you, Wes. Thank you. What do you think is your biggest inspiration? Is it other games or is it just movies in general? Because I've seen you've said several things. So,
I think it's a combination. I do definitely draw a lot of inspiration from movies and shows. Like when I'm in terms of trying to create games where this could happen in a show. This could be a thing in an episode in Firefly, or this could be a thing in an episode in Xeno, Warrior, Princess, whatever. And so the things like the rescues come in and the major exploits, because that's things they do. They, the giant scorpion attacks, they cut off the tail stinger. You can do that in Argosa because you just go major exploit, cut it off. But in D&D, you can't do that, right? Well, it's very difficult. I don't know. It's a lot of GMs will go, you just can't do it because it's not really within the, you're breaking the system. If you start doing that, why wouldn't they be cutting off your arm? And anyway, so anyway, that sort of thing. So definitely shows and movies, big inspiration for me. And then also, of course, other games because, DCC had the Mighty Deeds and that's really cool. We can somehow, twist that a little bit and give it to everybody and put a price on it instead of it being the deed die. Instead, you basically give away your luck. And anyway, so definitely other games as well. And I suppose, in terms of, I think reading stories and books and stuff is also an inspiration, but I think that probably comes more into world building and setting material rather than mechanics of the rules about how the game will work. I think I'm guided more by shows and movies and so on with how the game should function, and then in terms of putting it into the setting, well then it comes back to lots of reading. Yeah,
I know it's not fantasy, but have you played Outgun yet?
No.
Oh,
No.
Outgun is exactly what you just described. It's taking action movies and putting them into tabletop. It's super fun.
Is this an 80s? Is it based on 80s or something? 80s action movies? Am I thinking of the right one?
There's 80s action movies. They just recently released Ventures, which is like Indiana Jones and that type of thing. And then they just finished their Kickstarter for superheroes. But it basically uses pairs on D6s. So number of pairs you get is the number of successes you have, and based on the number of successes, you get different results because of that. So, and if you get six pairs, you get to control the entire scene. The DM loses full control. So it just what you said just sounded very similar. So
yeah. Okay, I've definitely seen it. I've seen it pop up on ads and stuff, on my Facebook or whatever. It's popped up, or I've seen it, on YouTube. I've seen it pop up. I haven't had a proper look into it, but it does sound like the kind of thing I would love to have a crack at.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. So art in the book is amazing. How did you? It's so good. It screams Conan and all that stuff without getting into that heavy 70s type feel at the same time. Like, it doesn't have like the 70s like real detailed. It's still got that feel. It's so good.
Yeah, I think
Congrats. That's good.
Well, that half of that is Steph, my wife, deciding what the art should look like. She's got an eye for all that, and I mean, I'm not too bad at it, but she is good at putting together the art that is consistent. Even though it's different artists, it's relatively consistent. Like, it's not, it would be amazing if, we have the resources like Free League to go Forbidden Lands, one artist, boom, looks insane. Like their Moria book, which I have, it's around the corner there. Anyway, that is an insane looking book. It's so nice. And that's like inspiration for me to try and mimic them and create something a bit similar. But of course I just don't have the resources to do that. But there are so many good smaller artists who are, happy to make, 5 different illustrations. They give you a bit of a discount if you do 5 at once. So it becomes more affordable.
Right.
And then of course, there's certain stock art pieces, which a lot of the indie creators will use. And so I'm still in that boat, of course. And we'll try and choose the nicest ones of those that seem to fit, whatever's going on that page or that spread. But yeah, I think we lucked out in some ways that some really amazing artists were like Luke Idenshank, and there's just I need to go check I don't want to. There's too many. Jeff Kosh, of course, Bel Gaia. You got Dean Spencer from there, Daniel Comessi, Matt Morrow. What am I talking about? Matt Morrow, so amazing. But there's so many awesome artists making stuff at the moment for quite reasonable, commissions if you approach them. Some, of course, are more famous in the industry, and so their rates are higher. And so, I've got to be a bit careful about, well, okay, I want a full page for the start of the combat. So what we're going to pay more money for that. But then in other parts, you can, get away with something that isn't, that is a bit more inexpensive, and, put that as a corner piece so we were lucky. I think it just came together well, and I'm hoping we can produce a similar effect in this box set. That's what we're trying to do, and we're in the process of. I've got a really awesome one from Jeff Kosh. No, it's not on my desk. It's around the corner. I can't get up. I'm trapped here with this map behind me. But he just did a really awesome piece for us. So anyways, but it's fun. That's actually one of the funnest part of making something like this is, finding an artist, you love their stuff, send them commission, and then they send you back something, and it's like Christmas. Every time you get a new bit of art, it's like, well, you would know. It's like, woo, yeah. This looks so good.
Oh, my God, straight.
It's so fun.
It's like you just kind of give them your prompt and what you want, and you hope they get it right, and then they usually give you something 4 times better than you can imagine.
Yeah. And that's interesting, actually, because there is some of the guys have said to me, I give them quite a fair bit of info. I go, can we have a scene like this? The guy is doing this. Here's a picture of his helmet, like something like that, please. And then, this is this. So it's like might be like 3 pages. And then the artist is like, thank you so much for this guidance, because otherwise I would have done it like this. And so I'm like, that's fine, because it helps me to help you to produce what I've got in my head. And anyway, it's just so much fun. It's so much fun. It is time consuming sometimes, but you then get when you get those things come in the email, it's like, oh yeah, I got another thing from Jeff Kosh. Luke sent me another piece. It's so nice. It's so fun.
You open it up as soon as you can. Yeah, I totally get that. Uh, speaking as independent developer, what do you find is the best part about being an indie developer versus the least attractive part about being an indie developer?
I think the most the most fun part is definitely that as a largely because as an indie developer, I think the best part is definitely you can make what you want. So whatever it is you want to make, you don't have to answer to shareholders. You're not designing by committee. You are designing this game to do what you want it to do for this particular audience, and you just make it. And it doesn't matter. There's no canceling or whatever. It doesn't matter about any of that because you're making the game for these people, for this audience, and they're gonna like it. And anyone else outside of that, you don't have to worry about. So it's not like with Wizards and they're trying to all the peripheral stuff that comes into it, and you've got 10 guys trying to design the game, pulling in different directions. You don't have to worry about that. I suppose there is a flip side to that, is that if your design is no good or there's some issues with it or whatever, no one's telling you that unless you do a bit of a decent play test and send out the document and let people come back to you. And we did do that with Argosa. We got lots and lots of people were coming back with feedback through the Discord for the playtest documents, which was so helpful. There were some major changes that happened, as a result of the feedback directly into that book. Like I think Devin suggested the change to the Dark and Dangerous Magic where it's an escalating die based on your level and stuff. Like that came directly from feedback. And after playing it, we were like, holy shit, this is really good. We're going to do that. And so boom, it goes in there. So I think that's, so being the indie makes you very agile to make these changes. And the worst part, of course, is that basically you do it all yourself. So you have to do it all. So you do the layout, you do the editing,
marketing.
Marketing, which is horrible. No one wants to push their thing.
Marketing's the worst.
Yeah, it's part of the sort of, if you don't do it, no one knows about it, right? So that's definitely the worst part. Yeah. Or that you don't really have the resources to do what you
want.
Yeah, if you had the resources that Wizards has, oh my god, the stuff you could create, it would be insane. But anyway, not possible. Yeah.
So GGS is asking, are you going to use the same illustrators in the future box set that you did for the book?
That's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. That's currently the plan. So I'm currently commissioning the same, mostly, not all the same. We've got there's a few new ones that I'm looking at, which some really awesome new ones. I don't want to say any names because I haven't got any, nothing's
but
I haven't actually sent the money yet. Yeah. So, but there's a few in the wings, but definitely for the most part, it will be the same artists, and maybe with a few extra in there. It all depends a little bit, but basically it's going to be the same.
Do you do all the layout to yourself, or do you get somebody else? I didn't check the book beforehand. I'm sorry.
Between us, yeah. We do. Okay. Yeah, there's no extra party outside of the two of us. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
We use Affinity. What's it called? Affinity.
Publisher. Affinity how do you like it?
Affinity. I love it. The only trouble with it is, well, first of all, what's awesome about it? You've got almost all the tools that you need, right, to produce a physical print book. It's cheap in the sense that you pay your one-off fee. That's it. So when you use Adobe InDesign or Photoshop and all that, you're paying that bloody $45 every month, or I mean, you can pay it every year. But anyway, you don't have that. So we used Affinity to make Tales of Argosa. So it's the first time we've used a proper publishing software. All our stuff before that was Word. We used Word, and we used Adobe PDF, which limits what you can do. But I mean, it's perfectly serviceable, but definitely limits you. But Affinity, I love it. The only, and there's quite a bit of help about it online if you need help with Affinity. the only thing is that there are some things that Affinity cannot do. There's a few little things, and so when we were making this book, and we were talking to the printers, the printers in Lithuania, and I knew none of this because it's the first time. Argosa was the first time we went to a proper printer and got stuff printed and put ribbons in it, and we printed the front covers and all that, send out inside covers. And there's all these rules, right, about ink coverage. You know, your black it has to be 100% K. It can't be any of the other ones. And there's all these special rules that I didn't know about. And well, I knew a little bit about, but not enough. And so we had this big learning experience of figuring out how to do things. And there is some little bits in Affinity. If you want the book, depending on your printer, they wanted me to do certain things, and I just couldn't do it with Affinity. I had to get photo InDesign for a little bit, you know, pay 2 months worth, whatever, tweak a couple of little things, and it all worked out fine. But that is worth bearing in mind, that depending on how I don't know, how comprehensive, how detailed, I don't want to use the word finicky, but your printer is, you may end up needing to go back to Adobe InDesign or whatever to finish bits off. But so in that sense, it might be worth just running with that from the beginning, because it would be easier. But nevertheless, I think we're using Affinity again for the box set. So, and we used it for, we actually used that for, we tried to make a board game a few years ago, which didn't work out, but we used Affinity for all of that, and it looked amazing. What the stuff that you can make from it is so good.
Yeah, I'm debating about going to it. I'm using InDesign, and I'm like, but I'm worried about, like, I'm gonna have to. How much work am I gonna have to redo to get to Affinity?
Yeah,
that's my only worry right now. So I'm like, maybe I'll just stick with InDesign.
Oh yeah, if you're halfway through, I think it's probably worth just sticking with it. But if you on your next project, you might consider it. I do think it's. I haven't used InDesign from the start. I've never used it properly, so I don't know. I'm sure there is a certain advantage in the sense that I found when you're searching, how do I do this? How do I do this online? All this stuff comes up for InDesign. This is how you do it.
InDesign.
And then for Affinity, there will be like just a couple of people who are able to help you, but that's enough. You can go to them. Yep. Oh, I get it. Okay, this is how to do it. But so because InDesign's been around for so long, there is a bigger bank of help online for you. So that's that is another good point for them. Yeah.
All right. I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know it's midday for you, and it's getting late here. Is there anything that you want to tell the group besides go get my book? Like, is there anything? I mean, we talked about your future plans. We talked about your past. I can't think of anything else. Anything else you want to say about?
No, not at the moment. Yeah, I've got a plumber coming to my house. We got toilet problems.
Exactly.
This afternoon, so I said to Dave, I got to be off by 12 because he's supposed to be coming soon. The only thing is, I was going to say is that if you're that that adventure. So the last adventure for the stretch goal is coming very soon. It's going to be it's the Lost Roads of Dol Karok, which is basically a Moria ripoff. And you explore it's going to be like a hex crawl, but instead of hexes, it's going to be a grid because there's so many horizontal lines. It looked weird with the grid on it, so I've done a grid. With a hex on it, so I've done a grid. But you explore it, like you basically use the hexploration rules to wander around. And anyway, we'll see how it goes. It's been fun to play with. I think hopefully it'll be all right. But yeah, so that's coming soon. Otherwise, thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to reading it. Stay on the line. I want to say goodbye to you properly, but let me say goodbye to chat. Thank you, chat, for being here. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, GGS, for all your things. Leo S Gamer, thank you so much for chatting. We're gonna call it night because, as he just said, he needs to get going, and I am honestly, it's 10 o'clock. I'm ready for bed. You guys have a wonderful night, and thank you so much for being here again, Steve. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.